Hey, this is Laylee from Vivo Leadership Strategies, your leadership addict. And what I wanted to do was in between our segment that's called I Don't Mean to Be a Jerk, but I wanted to talk to you about different ways that you can develop yourself in terms of leadership. While we're talking about not being an a-hole in the other segment, what I want to do is really talk to you about some of the everyday leadership and some of the challenges that you may hit. And every time I talk about goal setting, the word SMART comes to mind. For those of you who have heard this, fantastic, but I want to go into it because it really makes a humongous difference when it comes to your goal setting. So the word SMART really stands for the S being specific, M being measurable, A being achievable, R being relevant, and T being time bound. So the SMART goal way of working, you're allowing so much more into your world of goal setting because it's clear, it's attainable, it's meaningful. Sometimes when I've made goals for myself, they are not tangible, they are not achievable, and they lose their relevancy within like a week or 2 weeks. So when you're making these types of goals, what I want you to think about is the SMART method. Having clarity in your goal setting to provide that motivation and focus you need to be successful. So for instance, I have currently taken on art. I wanted to paint forever. My aunt is a wonderful painter. She is such an inspiration to me. I have been so busy with life and business and goals that I just didn't have time to pursue this art piece. Well, in the past couple of weeks, I said, okay, enough is enough. I need to do this. I need to do this because not only do I want to learn, but I think that's a really good way for me to release stress besides working out. And so when I applied the SMART method, I thought about a couple things. If I want to do art, can you hear me? If I want to paint, if I want to learn how to paint, a couple of things I need to think about. I need to be specific. So what kind of painting do I want to do? Okay, I want to do acrylic paint set. There we go. So I want to work with our acrylic paint set. I want to learn how to work with our acrylic. And I keep saying it over and over until I can say the word right. Maybe that should be my next goal. I want it to be measurable. So what I did for myself is I have a class that I go to every week. So that is also one way that I measure is that do I make it to class? The other way that I'm doing this is I'm saying, okay, every day I am going to spend at least 30 minutes with a paintbrush in my hand, and I'm working on a canvas. 30 minutes. Now, I have a busy schedule. Is that going to be attainable? Probably not. So then we go into the achievable piece. So I have the measurement, right? I want to spend 30 minutes a day painting, and then I also have my class where I can go to. But sometimes that doesn't happen. So what can I do to make this achievable? So then I jotted down to, okay, if I am committing to 30 minutes a day, I don't think it makes sense if I say 30 minutes a day every day because I travel for work. I have other responsibilities that I need to tend to. I'm also, believe it or not, I am training for a triathlon too. So there's a lot going on in my life. And what I'm putting out there is not going to be achievable. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to commit to 3 times a week. And that 3 times a week can include my class time. And funny enough, my class time is also 3 hours. You see what I did there? And I'm not trying to cheat the system. I'm trying to be realistic with what's happening in my life. So I just made it achievable where when I hit that check mark, it's fantastic. So even if I don't go to class, let's say, because I'm traveling or I'm going somewhere for work, I still can hit that goal. I can still, for instance, I can still grab a brush. I can still grab maybe a sketch and do a sketch to make sure that I can, still draw and sketch very well for the paint. Then we get to the relevancy, okay? The relevancy is pretty important because the relevancy is exactly what I'm talking about, the world part. And with that said, the relevancy is this going to be relevant in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks? is this goal going to stay the same? The way I have made it to measure it, will I need to change it every other week, right? So the answer for me is it could be, right? There's always a reason to tweak it. But for the most part, no, because I think the 30 minutes 3 times a week is pretty doable for me. I can grab a paintbrush, I can do those things. Even if I am traveling, let's say for the weekday and I have my classes on the weekends, fantastic. Then the class time really matters. And my teacher is also very helpful and very, very nice because she understands that we have a full schedule. So if we show up in class and we haven't practiced for the week, that's a great place to practice. So yes, it is going to stay relevant for majority of my goal. Now, do I want to become a famous painter? Is the purpose of me taking on painting to be a famous painter? Absolutely not. I wanted to take it as a way of, hey, my aunt does this. I love what she does. I want to be good at this. I want to try this. So I don't really have a timeline, which takes me to the T, the time bound. Am I facing a deadline? Right? In this case, I'm not. I'm doing this freely. I'm enjoying it just for the kick of it so that I don't feel like I have to continue this until the day I die. Maybe what I want to see is, do I want to see growth in the next 2 years? So maybe that's the time bound that I have for myself. In 2 years, do I see an improvement? And there you go. There's the measurable piece that's stuck in there, right? So for me, again, here's my goal. I would love to learn how to paint. And I'm going to take the acrylic paint as my source, as place where I want to learn and grow. I want to do that 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. Class does count in those 30 minutes, right? And I want to see in 2 years, do I see improvements? And how am I going to do that? This is the fun way, right? We want to see the measurable goals. So since I put a time bound on it, what I'm going to do is every painting that I complete, I'm going to take a picture of it and I'm going to compare it with the previous painting that I did and see if I have gotten the shadings well. Have I seen transition from how I shaded the first time to the second time to the third time and so forth. So that's what I want to talk about with goal setting. Now I want to switch gears to goal setting when it comes to your life. So we went from art. Now we're going to life purpose. So if you have not figured out your life purpose, here's the challenge for you this week. Sit with yourself, reflect. What is it that you want to accomplish? And let me phrase that in a better way. When I talk about accomplishment, I'm not talking about be a millionaire or open businesses. I mean, if that is your life purpose, fantastic, sure, great. But I want to challenge you and I want you to think about a more in-depth goal. So for instance, and a really good example is I have worked with a client where they really, like their Gallup Strength Finder, their number one was learner. So this person purposefully wanted to be a learner in their life. And it was more in terms of their self-development. Okay. So not only did this person focus on the self-development aspect of it, but what they also did, they focused on the SMART method. Okay. So their purpose was develop in terms of your self-development, develop as a person. Okay. So if we were to apply the SMART goals, okay, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Now, time-bound, this is where I want to call it out. For the rest of her life, this is what she wanted to do. Self-development. Always grow. Always grow. So the time-bound is pretty much until the day she passes away from this world. God forbid, knock on wood. So with that said, what are we specifically trying to accomplish, right? So for her, self-development meant areas of weakness. So what this person would do is talk about where they feel the weakest at. So they'll create a list of weaknesses that they think they have, and they'll reflect on which ones they think are their top 3. Then they'll go and talk to their close loved ones or people that they trust and say, hey, I would love feedback. I want to grow as a person. These are the 3 areas that I think I'm the weakest at. Did I get them correct? Or is there another category that you would recommend that I can look at, right? So maybe this person comes in and they realize they're a little too prideful. They think about maybe that they're sometimes selfish in the things that they do. So they want to work on being more, maybe cultivating their altruism, right? So they'll spend some time with their friends and family and confirm the findings that they had. Then they have that test trial of let's put it into practice. Let's see how many times throughout the day this week I get triggered in those 3 weaknesses. Okay. So specifically what they'll do at the end of that week is they'll say, yep, there it is. Specifically, these are the 3 areas that I want to focus on for the rest of my life. And here's the thing, I'll go jump right into the relevancy. Is this going to be relevant in 2 to 3 years? This person could excel in altruism. So what's going to be really great is that they'll have those measurable goals. Well, every year, let's say every year they'll have a reflection period. Let's say December, like we love our New Year's Eve resolutions. In December, they'll say, okay, did I meet these goals? Am I really accelerating in this? Does this need to be tweaked? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because we still want to keep those goals relevant. Otherwise, this person for the rest of her life, if these are the areas that she wants to work on in their self-development, she's not going to grow, right? She's going to be like, whatever, I finished this. And then the whole point of the self-development and the life purpose goes away. So that's pretty important, right? So we got specific here. My life, here are the 3 areas that I want to work on, let's say in the next year. Here we go. We got specific. We're measurable now every year. The relevancy comes through. I am going to evaluate myself every year and see if I need to tweak some of these goals or maybe introduce a new goal. Maybe I learned something about myself. It's not that I'm not altruistic. It's more about maybe I'm not nice to my family members and I'm more nice to people that I don't know. And achievable. So we did specific. We did measurable. Right? So I'm going to look at this every day. I will see from, a year from the time that I chose these, did I do a good job? Now, this is where we get to the detail of did I do a good job? How do you measure those goals, right? Because this is a life purpose. It's a life goal. And so once those 3 weaknesses are determined by this person, now they're going to put practical steps and maybe practicals they can use on the daily basis to measure those goals. So let's say with altruism, okay? I want to cultivate my altruism. So what I'm going to do weekly is I will perform 1 act of kindness per week. And it could be small, right? I want to make sure that I'm specific again, right? I can check in with people, I can donate, I can support someone's goals. I can also, on a monthly basis, so I went from week to month, volunteer or give time intentionally to help someone else once a month. There you go. Also, I can have a reflection piece via journal where I ask myself, maybe I could do this every week, once a week, maybe once a month, maybe I want to do it once a quarter, right? It's really up to me. Again, I want to make sure that it's relevant and that it's achievable. If I put it every week and I'm really busy a person and I can't do it, then what's the point, right? So I'm going to ask myself, how did I put others' good before my comfort this week? And then work through that goal. Do you see what's happening here? Is I'm really focusing on the SMART method, a little bit differently here, but almost the same that we did with the arts. So all in all, we can break down any type of goal with this method. Right? So if I wanted to even do a career goal breakdown, let's say I want to build a business, right? What I can do is create a weekly goal. I dedicate 1 to 2 hours weekly and me exploring the ideas. Maybe I look at the market trends, passion, and gaps in the market with the industry that I want to go into. I can even document 1 business idea a week with a short SWOT analysis. I can network with 1 entrepreneur. Let's say like every week I have it where I introduce myself or connect with someone on LinkedIn and talk to them about their experiences and get their feedback on what's worked for them and what hasn't. I can even go the education side and take 1 online course every 3 to 6 months in entrepreneurship or business development and find ways where I can engage in the business building, right? Now, those goals that I mentioned, again, you can get more specific, you can make it more measurable, right? All of the things that we've talked about with the SMART method. And here's my goal setting is super important. As a leader, your goal setting really matters because you're building the vision for your people. So coming from a self-developmental piece as a leader, when you can do that for yourself very easily, that can translate better when you're building that vision and building those goals for your business. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked with leaders, especially in the financial market or just financial industry in general, where they set up sales goals for the month, for the quarter, for the year, and it's very much not achievable. It's not relevant for the time, right? And it makes sense, right? As far as sales go, we are motivated to make the most. But it would be amazing if we can take that measurement and take the SMART goal and apply it to the vision that we build for our team. There are times where we have goals. I've also worked with companies or firms where they're, okay, now we need to, for instance, bring this new technology. And this is a platform that we want. We're gonna take this platform, we're gonna spend millions of dollars on it, and we're going to take it to our people. And they do not involve their people who would use that platform on a daily basis, and they don't get their inputs. And what's even worse is they also don't use the SMART method, which is when you're setting the goal to bring this platform and have people adopt to it, there's no clear way of, first of all, what the purpose of it is. And second of all, how you are going to bring your people on board and you've built this vision that's clear enough for them to come on board. These are all the major issues that I see. So here's the takeaway from today. Use the SMART method. Build your own goals. See if you can follow them. And from there, from a leadership standpoint, see how you can apply what you're doing personally into that professional work that you're doing. I hope this was helpful. This was such a great way for me to get into things because I got the question today and I got really inspired and I thought, okay, if I'm getting this question, I am 100% going to have listeners who have the same question. This is Laylee, In Vivo Leadership Strategies, your leadership addict, and I'll talk to you soon.